When a single AI agent reaches its logical limits, we don't just build larger monolithic models. Instead, we connect them to specialized, externally managed agents. It's really the absolute foundation of modern multi-agent architecture.
To break down this blueprint, we'll start by defining connected agents. Compare the orchestrator subagent pattern to the workflow-oriented pattern, help you choose your coordination pattern, explore connection options, and finally, wrap up with governance and trust boundaries.
Section 1. What are connected agents? And extending capabilities.
By extending an agent's capabilities externally, we leverage specialized skills without bloating our primary orchestrator. The technical logic here is actually remarkably straightforward. From your main orchestrating agent's perspective, a connected agent looks exactly like a standard tool with a description attached. The primary agent reads the user prompt, matches the intent to that description, and routes the request. From there, the connected agent uses its own distinct reasoning layer, its own tools, and its own knowledge base to handle the delegated task. It operates entirely independently before returning the result right back to the main agent.
Now, the architectural reasoning for this separation of concerns really comes down to lifecycle management and reusability. Take an enterprise scenario like Fabricum's customer support solution. The support orchestrator needs to handle account changes, right? But the account management capability is actually owned by the HR and people team. By treating that capability as a connected agent, the people team maintains independent deployment, configuration, and testing cycles. Plus, that exact same account agent can be reused across entirely different orchestrators throughout the entire company.
Section 2. The orchestrator subagent pattern and dynamic routing.
Let's look at the technical flow of this open-ended coordination model. In this pattern, the primary orchestrator doesn't actually execute the specialized work. It doesn't do the heavy lifting. Instead, it's the manager delegating to the specialists. It interprets the user's intent in real time to dynamically route the request to the most appropriate subagent. For example, in a sales copilot scenario, the orchestrator might dynamically route to a lead scoring agent for one prompt and then a proposal drafting agent for the next. The system is literally adapting on the fly.
This operational model fits perfectly into open-ended scenarios. Returning to Fabricum's support solution, users arrive with highly unpredictable needs. We're talking billing questions, technical glitches, or maybe account upgrades. Because there is no predetermined flow, the orchestrator assesses the intent and routes it appropriately. But a major architectural pitfall here is applying dynamic routing to strict sequential processes. If your process requires step A to succeed before step B, dynamic routing will eventually skip a step and break your entire process.
Section 3. The workflow-oriented pattern for deterministic processes.
When you need absolute guarantees, we have to move to a different model entirely to enforce strict sequence controls. Here, the technical logic shifts control from a dynamic, generative AI orchestrator to a deterministic workflow engine, like Power Automate, Logic Apps, or Copilot Studio topics. The process is modeled explicitly. First, call Agent A, wait for completion, call Agent B, and then pause at a human approval gate. Given the exact same inputs, the system runs the exact same steps in the exact same order every single time. This provides the explicit auditability that's absolutely required for compliance-sensitive operations.
Once we decide on a workflow, we generally divide this into two operational forms. First, a serial workflow executes sequentially. A great industry example is Fabricum's quarterly vendor contract review. The workflow forces the contract through multiple policy-checking agents in a strict order, culminating in a mandatory legal sign-off. It is rigidly auditable. But what if your agents don't rely on each other? Well, that's where concurrent workflows come in. These run multiple agents in parallel to combine their outputs. It's ideal for quorum decisions or reducing latency when agents don't have strict dependencies on one another.
Section 4. Choosing your coordination pattern with a direct comparison. Let's put these patterns head-to-head to help you make the right implementation decision. This decision matrix clarifies the boundary. Look at your current backlog. Which of these profiles do your upcoming features fit into? If your process structure is open-ended, tolerates variability, and functions mostly in an advisory or dynamic routing capacity, well, the orchestrator subagent pattern is your choice. The agent makes the routing decisions at runtime. But if you're designing a compliance audit or an approval chain, your tolerance for variability is zero. You absolutely must choose the workflow-oriented pattern, relying on the workflow engine to define routing upfront and generate a strong, explicit audit trail.
Section 5. Connection options and technical protocols.
Once your pattern is chosen, we have to configure the actual back-end connections. The option you select is dictated by where the subagent was built. You can seamlessly connect to existing Copilot Studio agents within your environment, but you also have cross-platform capabilities. For instance, Fabricom leverages a Microsoft Fabric data agent, which is currently in public preview, to expose structured analytics from their data engineering team directly into their conversational orchestrator. Furthermore, if you need to connect to a partner running an agent entirely outside the Microsoft ecosystem, you'd utilize the Open Agent-to-Agent, or A2A protocol. Keep in mind, however, that preview options like Foundry and Fabric carry production limitations, such as restricted topic redirect nodes, so you've definitely got to factor those into your architecture.
Section 6. Governance and Trust Boundaries, the Enterprise Realities.
A protocol is completely useless without proper governance. Let's define what happens to your security posture when you implement these multi-agent designs. Connecting an external agent is not merely a technical routing task, it is a profound governance decision. When your orchestrator invokes a connected agent, you are fundamentally extending the trust boundary of your solution. From an architectural standpoint, as the maker of the primary orchestrator, you retain absolute, total accountability for the data flowing between these agents, regardless of who actually built the subagent.
Let's look at the specific security controls required to secure this distributed trust model. A massive pitfall when deploying multi-agent systems is treating external agents as unmonitored black boxes. Because a connected agent operates on its own reasoning layer, it generates its own transcripts. You absolutely must correlate those sessions with your orchestrator's logs to meet basic debugging and audit requirements. Also, if a connected agent possesses write access to an API or system of record, explicit human-in-the-loop approval controls and data sharing agreements must be validated prior to connection. The excuse that another team's agent made the error just does not hold up in enterprise security reviews. Accountability always remains with the orchestrator. We've covered the components, the routing patterns, the connection options, and the governance requirements for multi-agent architecture. So I want you to evaluate your own AI systems right now. Think about a capability in your current solution that is owned by an external team. Which connection option fits its deployment environment? And crucially, does its operational risk profile demand the strict predictability of a predefined workflow or the open-ended flexibility of dynamic intent routing?